Oh, yeah, it's the sweet, sweet sounds of another episode of Social Distance Drinking Club. It's a celebration. I'm going to open it here. There it is. I almost stone cold Steve Austin that beer just now. It's just like flashing in my face.
The radar viewership would have gone sky high, I feel like. And
if we actually had Stone Cold Steve Austin, or if I would have sprayed my own beer.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Thank you guys for joining us. We've got Luke and Preston, brewers from Wren House Brewing Company, joining us in just a couple of minutes to talk about their big win at GABF. And we're going to have a little beer as we lead up to that. As always, we like to find out what you guys are drinking, so please tell us in the comments, and we'll go around the room. Mr. Green.
Go with little double dry hop Spellbinder for reasons that will become obvious soon, or if you just followed our Facebook page or Instagram, you'll understand why. But yeah, little Wren House double dry hop IPA.
Very good. Barry, what you got?
I didn't go with the Spellbinder, but one of the recent hops from Wren House, Strange Pour. It's delicious.
I tried to replicate a fat Pilsner pour, and I don't know if I did a good job. But I've got a little Big Spill Pils right here. So cheers. Let me know if my internet gets weird and choppy, by the way, because I will switch to a different internet situation. Mr. Ledford, did you just appear? What are you drinking?
I'm here. I'm here temporarily. I'm working on my whole internet thing right now. I feel terrible. The only Wren House I have in my possession is a crowler of Bird, and I have stuff to do in an hour, so I'm not going to open that. So I am going to drink a little bit of Pueblo Vita Press, which is the Prickly Pear Hazy IPA. It's real good. I meant to get out and get a little Big Spill Pils today, but it did not happen.
I was excited to get a hold of some. I swung over to Sleepy Will and picked up the Big Spill Pils, but they had seen the post about the show, and before I even had a chance to get into the fridge, they told me that after the announcement that they won gold, they were out of Spellbinder within a few hours. So,
how silly is that?
That's about right, yeah.
But Spellbinder's been around for a while now. We all know it's a delicious beer. And then they would go, I was like, ooh, I must have this beer now. It's like, where have you been? It's always been really good.
But that's okay. Yeah. Not everybody knows about Spellbinder, and now we can even add to that group of people.
Yeah. Can you guys imagine what would happen if Drecker won some awards?
It would break the internet. It would certainly break Arizona craft beer enthusiasts.
Well, thank you again for joining us. Drew Poole behind Wren House is hanging out with us as well. Thank you, Drew. Little Heater Allen Coastal, I see. And I don't want to delay this. I want to get as much time in as we can with Luke and Preston. So let's do it. Bear with us, guys. This is probably the first time we put 6 people on the screen at once. I'll bring them in one at a time. Mr. Luke Wortendyke, how are you?
Hello.
Thanks, my friend.
Excited to be here.
Preston, I see you down there. There you are. Thank you for joining us.
Guys.
Great. How are you?
Good.
Cheers, guys. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's really awesome stuff.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm congratulating you guys for being on our show, by the way. I don't know. Is there anything else that happened? Because I think it's just big news that you guys are here with us. We're celebrating, right? No?
I thought so.
I don't know what it is. It might be what it says down there. The whole goal of GABF. I don't know.
That silly thing.
Gentlemen, what are you drinking?
I'm just finishing up a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
That was my favorite goal.
I'm drinking the last of my which way am I going there? This one? The last of my little spell. It's one of my favorites, and we don't brew it a lot, so
Nice.
Very nice. Well, as Adam said, congratulations, guys. This is it's awesome. Apparently, I didn't realize that this is one of the most competitive categories at GABF. There were almost 400 entrants in that category, if I'm not mistaken. So, big win for you, and we're so happy to have you guys with us. I think first things first, we'll talk about Spellbinder. Tell us a little bit about the beer.
Who's going?
Well, before you get into that, like, this has been a beer that you brewed for a while. This isn't a new thing that you just decided to create and try to submit to get an award. This is something that you guys believed in for a long time. More importantly than, like, tell us about the beer, because everybody wants to try this beer. Like, is this the same Spellbinder that it's been over the last couple of years, or have you guys made any tweaks along the way?
Yeah, I mean, it, like with any beer, we always kind of tweak it. It's, if you were to try the original batch versus now, they'd probably be pretty different, but it was one small change every brew along the way to get us to where we are now. But the batch that won, yeah, that's the production batch. It is different than maybe 9 months ago in that we were able to lock down some really good hop contracts and use really fresh Citron Mosaic exclusively for the dry hop again. And so I think that kind of gives it a little extra bump as far as that, you know, traditional hazy, juicy hop character that we're looking for in that beer.
Did this, when you submitted it, did it seem like a beer for you guys? Like, okay, this one, obviously you believe in your beer, but you're like, okay, this could be a winner in this ultra competitive category?
Yeah, not really. I mean, honestly, every category we submitted, we honestly just thought that was like our best version of that category. So I think we were all over the board with what we thought might get a medal. And but honestly, I think Spellbinder was low on the expectations for a medal just because of the sheer size of that category and like the incredible competition on it. A ton of great breweries submit their examples of hazy IPA.
Luke and go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, it was just definitely surprising for us. That's
I mean,
No.
no. It's you.
Okay. No, I was going to say, Luke and Preston, for our friends and viewers that are watching that don't necessarily know what GABF is, can you talk a little bit about it, how competitive it is, you know, what it is, why it's such a big deal that you guys, that Spellbinder won?
Yeah, I mean, so GABF is the Great American Beer Festival in Denver every year. And it's both a really fun festival, which obviously was canceled this year, and a competition where breweries across the country are able to send in beers to match a certain category, and then they're put head to head in a competition. Well, I can speak for myself. There's no Wren House opinion on GABF. I really like it because when we're starting out, 5-6 years ago, we brew a beer that we think is perfect. We send it to GABF, and it's like, oh shit, this is not perfect. The judges did not like it. It may be tasty, but stylistically, it's wrong for these little things that we didn't even think about. And then you start over, and you're like, these are things that we can attack, and do we want to change them to match the style? And with more traditional styles like a Pilsner or something like that, there's a reason that's the style, and there's a reason that those have succeeded for hundreds of years. And so you can get this really wonderful feedback from the judges that are judging it completely blind. They don't know who you are, where you come from. And to the same end, our first couple of years, we get really cool reviews back on beer that we were questionable about. And these people are like, that was a really nice example of a Kolsch or whatever. So it's just a really interesting high-level way to get direct feedback while being compared to your peers and your heroes in the industry at the same time.
Well, to Luke's point, how many billion hazy IPAs were submitted?
Yeah, I mean, it was a surreal category to win at for sure. We can't understate how surprised we were. You know, like Luke said, we love that beer, and we entered it because we were really proud of it. But you know, it's just such an amazing category to even be in contention at. So we're very fortunate.
Yeah, I saw a good question from Andrew Hirsch. I think this especially applies to, you know, IPAs that, you know, most people that are in the craft beer community know that they need to be fresh. So he's asking, how hard was it to get the timing down between brewing, shipping, and then the judging at the festival?
I mean, it's something we plan for. We know when the GABF entries are expected, and depending on how many categories we enter, we tend to get as close as possible to that date with as much foresight as possible. So we definitely plan for it. It's not incredibly challenging, but some of these years where we enter more categories than typical, it gets a little more challenging, but we tend to just package obviously as close as possible to shipping. And then they tend to sit for around a month, give or take.
Well, it looks like Drew's throwing in a little question there. He asked, "Where can I get one of those Tasmanian Devil Western shirts?" Can we look at that one more time?
Yeah, let's get a look at this. My wife hates it.
Full screen this thing so we can see it.
It's a work of art, you know. The artistry that was put behind this there's no make it like that anymore. And
Kyle Creek says, "I need one too. Very handsome."
See, here I thought my shirt with the "Our Cows Are Sexy" with a Burt Reynolds cow laying out sexily was a ridiculous shirt, and then you had to one up me.
I do want to say to Luke's point about getting the beers dialed in. Yeah, we knew when it was, so we were able to time it accordingly. But it just so happened this year with our canning schedule and all that, we were canning it on a Tuesday. That was when it was done, and it needed to be in Mesa or whatever on Tuesday as well, or Wednesday morning, one of the two. And it going into the weekend before Tuesday, it wasn't done. Like that, the beers tend to sit for a month and a half before they judge them. So with an IPA, especially something with this much hops, you want it as fresh as possible. So we timed it, and then I mean we were 12 hours from not making it. So it's really it was wild. It was close, and so we got it, and we got it as fresh as we possibly can going out the door, and I think that definitely helps.
One thing I kind of want to go back to, Preston, you're talking about the different beer styles that you guys brew, you know, with Spellbinder being the IPA, the hazy, and all that. And it seems like that's a challenge between brewing what could win awards, brewing what people want to drink, brewing maybe what you guys want to brew. Like, how do you balance that? Because obviously GABF it's cool to win the award, and people will obviously buy Spellbinder too. It doesn't change anything, but like those are different metrics that you're brewing for, it would sound like.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, we're just submitting the beers that we're most proud of at the time of GABF. So, I mean, we're not technically brewing for GABF. We're brewing just the beers that we typically have in our lineup. And we'll plan ahead, yes, but we'll definitely pick and choose the beers we're just most proud of and find a category for those beers and submit them.
Now you've submitted beers to GABF before, obviously, right?
Yep.
How many years now that you guys have had a chance to submit something to GABF?
This would have been our 5th year.
Yeah, we've done it every year, right? Yeah. So we won our first medal last year for Valley Beer, and this is our 2nd medal this year.
So let's talk about that for a second. I mean, there's obviously every category has dozens, if not hundreds, of entrants. And in the modern society, we know that judges get like palate fatigue. We know that it's a difficult process. We know that subjectivity can be a big part of why beers don't make it to the final judging round. Like, where were you and what were you doing when you found out that you guys took gold?
Especially because this was different because it was a virtual GABF, right? So you're finding out at home.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
Luke and Drew and a couple other people from Wren House came over to my house, and we watched it on TV. So we were able to see each other really just lose their shit at the same time. I mean, I know we'll probably say it a few more times. We were not prepared for that. There's some categories we felt good about, or you have a little bit of confidence going into, but I was just ready to get through that category, especially when bronze and silver came up. You don't think like, oh, good, here's the gold. Like, this is our chance. I mean, we were all together, and we just, obviously we kind of lost our mind and drank a lot of Spellbinder that night to celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, and to that point, when I saw Moonraker come up as silver, I'm a big fan of their IPAs. I think they make really good hoppy beer. So it was really cool to see them just kind of right in line with us on quality hazy IPA, and just kind of solidified, my feeling towards that beer. It made it a little more real to see those guys right next to us.
It's got to be validating for you guys too, knowing that you can brew a style that's so popular that obviously like Moonraker does great stuff, and yours was rated above that. Right? Like, that's got to feel really damn good.
Yeah, it's been a good feeling.
Let's talk about also how validating it is that this is a production beer. This is not a random lot of shit that you got somewhere that you decided to just spin it up and see what happens. Like, this is something that you brew consistently. The hallmark of a good brewery is to brew the same beer and make it something that's relevant and recognizable for people so that they can see it again and get it again. Like, how does that feel to know that a mainline item made it to gold?
Yeah, I mean, the quick answer is we couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, yeah, it's as good as it gets, when you're doing a competition, I suppose. So, again, we're just very fortunate. That's, like you said, it validates the beer and the love that we have for it, and guarantees that we'll be brewing it indefinitely. Now there's no change there.
I saw a question come in from Mason. Forgive me, Surenga, I hope is how to pronounce the last name. Plans to chase down the also elusive brown ale gold?
Yes, do it.
Yeah.
Are there plans, gentlemen? Are there plans to chase
As
down?
Mason knows, brown ale is an incredibly circumstantial type of beer. It tastes great in certain circumstances.
Incredibly circumstantial is a great beer name.
Yeah, you heard it. Circumstantial brown ale is Wren House's next GABF gold medal.
Are you guys talking about me in code again? Circumstantial brown ale seems like it's. I'm right here. I'm right here.
I mean, flagship brown ale sounds like something Adam Ledford would name in the beer name game that has a very vulgar description.
Or a Barbary pirate. I see that it is still about me.
But all seriously, we definitely have one of our beers, Pubber, our English dark mild. We'll most likely be brewing that a little bit more, and maybe one year we will submit that to GABF. So, to answer that very serious question.
Very serious question.
Your brown ale should be called a very serious beer, just because of that very serious question.
So what happens when you win a GABF gold? I mean, does somebody send you a plaque? Do you get something you can hang up on the wall, like a diploma?
Normally
a glass?
Yeah, normally, obviously, you're there. It's really cool. There's a big auditorium with, thousands of people, hundreds, if not thousands of brewers from around the country. And then you win, you get on stage, you get to fist bump Charlie Papazian, and you get your medal. And you're able to take that home with you. This year, you don't get that immediate gratification of holding a medal and falling asleep drunk with a medal on, but
on top of the mountain, and you don't know which mountain.
Yeah, that's right. So they'll send a medal, and you will proudly hang it above the bar, and we're pretty excited.
Now, a quick follow-up question. Knowing full well that you get a medal, and that's something that's personal versus being at a brewery. Brett, just say it out loud. You're weird.
Didn't want to interrupt your clearly well thought out question.
But in all seriousness, I've thought about this before. But like you win a medal, and the medal is very personal. Would it be cooler? And this is out to the GABF folks. If you guys got a plaque that you could hang up, or something a little less personal that medals are supposed to be hung around a neck.
Oh, dude, they have a whole like digital art thing that they can put on that beer forever if they want to. I'm just saying, like, there's an official little gold medal thing that they can do if they
Way ahead of you on that.
Yeah, so you can get a plaque when you win. You're eligible to purchase a plaque. What we did last year, and we haven't talked about, but I'm sure we'll do it this year, is you can order additional medals. And then my wife made a display case for it. And so we have that hanging on the wall. But yeah, you can get a plaque if you want. You can do whatever you want,
I want to put this up here if we didn't already. JJM's comment. Congrats, you all have brewed dozens of amazing beers over the years. That many of them have been unique, like the mead, barrel-aged stuff. And I look forward to what the future holds. A little love from Jonathan Jacob Mankey.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wait,
Thanks, man.
Cheers to the future here. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Well, that future also includes like
you guys like
peanut butter, cocoa, coconut, barrel aged, something that we saw on the Facebook. So yes, to the future.
Switching gears here, I know that Tyler and Hilda have left you guys to embark on a new venture. And Andrew Hirsch asks, do you miss Tyler and Hilda? For those of you who don't know who they are, they were working at Wren House up until, I believe, this last weekend, right? Because they have decided to open up a new tap room of their own.
I've never heard of them.
I don't know who they are.
So the point here, everybody, the point here is that they're dead to them.
Yeah, we're super excited, obviously. They love bartending, and that's the obvious next step for them is to run their own bar. They'll have great success for it. I know that all of Wren House will be supporting them and patroning them, whichever one's not an insult.
I'll never patronize.
the only time that you can say patronize and it's not an insult.
Don't patron me, pal. I don't want
There you go.
to. Okay.
So we have complete confidence they'll do well. It's a really beautiful location. Everyone should go check it out. I'm sure most people already know about it if they're watching this. They've been an indispensable part of the beer community since they've been with Wren House. So it's not a secret anymore about their place. And we encourage everyone to go.
Yeah, we should all patron them.
On that note, we'll take a short break to tell everybody that shameless plug, you can buy a shirt if you go to socialdistancedrinkclub.com, which helps us make sure that this happens. The show that you're watching right now. So do that, please. Thanks.
So Luke and Preston, obviously, when you brew, when you create anything, you're your own worst critic. So I know you guys have had a lot of just like absolute banger beers in the past. Like, what have you made recently, or what are something that's coming up that you just feel like it's okay to just say it's good, like it's very good?
I love the pecan pie thief that we make with Little Miss Barbecue, and we only canned half of it last year, so the batch this year will have been in barrels for 2 years, and that goes on vanilla and pecans probably next week, and it'll finish there for a few weeks, and so out of the barrel, it's one of the most decadent beers we've done, barrel aged beers. We've always felt that the pecan and the wheat wine and the bourbon are like perfect complements to each other. So we're really excited I'm really excited for that one. That's probably the next one I'm going to be real amped up about.
I still have a can of pecan pie thief in my fridge. I'm glad to know it's coming back so I can drink this one eventually because it's so good. Like I love that beer when I had it last year. It's so good.
Luke, how about you?
Luke?
I was just getting distracted by my dog. She can make a quick appearance.
Yes, let's do
Yes.
Cam real quick because we love Puppy Cam.
Updates.
There it is. Updates, as we call them.
Pat him on the back.
What a cutie.
Yeah, the beer I'm most excited about, 11 right now. Shoot, I don't know.
How about any beer in the historical? Yeah, Luke. Luke, what have you just had that you loved, like that you made that you loved?
Shit.
It's like
I really.
nothing really at all.
Make it more fun. What one did you hate?
Honestly, Pubber has probably been my favorite beer that we've made. But it's so hard to pick one. Just for me, that hits really well. Same with Brigid, our Irish stout we did. Just really any kind of like European ales, like pub ales. Those are like my favorite kinds of beers right now. So anytime we do those, those are the beers I'm taking the most proud of.
I like the barrel aged stuff that you guys have putting out all the time, and I know like another snake one is coming down soon, and like what more of that is coming because I want to spend more money and give it to you guys.
Well, next year the goal is to have way more options and quantities and really focus on it. So we're filling up a lot of barrels right now in anticipation for that. That being said, we got some more king snake barrels and a few mead barrels that are filled. We've got really good barley wine that's really close to done. More pie thief, more pecan pie thief, some more stout base that we use for adjunct. And then we'll be filling some Who Hit John soon. And so all the hits, and then we'll tend to use some of those bases to come up with some new ideas for adjunct stouts and stuff like that.
So I've got
more short term. We also, I think we've been blanking on it a bit, but we got a strong like 10% whiskey barrel fermented and whiskey barrel aged Doppelbock lager. It's tasting really nice, and we've just been letting it chill out in those barrels for quite some time now. So we're pretty stoked on that.
Speaking of barrels, I've had a chance to sneak into the still currently closed room a couple of times, and I've seen that you guys hide a lot of good stuff. Last time we did an episode together, Luke, I think it was you and I that did it in the brewery.
Oh yeah.
What did I do? I can't talk about it? I got to talk about it. I'm sorry, guys. It's got to happen.
Don't talk about the limited amount of stuff that could be available for social distance drinking club.
I just want to know what's in the tanks right now, and also what did you guys barrel because you've had a ton of time to barrel stuff. Tell us more.
Yeah,
I think Preston covered all the barreled stuff.
Yeah, so one of the things we do is we have this really nice stout base that we originally started working on with Kyle from Horace, and it's evolved over the years, and it's got a really nice complexity that we like, and so we'll barrel a ton of that throughout the year, and then our favorite barrels become King Snake, and we finish them on vanilla, and then some of the other ones we find their strengths and complement them with adjuncts. So it's not 50 different types of stout. We tend to have about 4 or 5 different stout varieties in barrels at a given time, and then we kind of let their progression influence what we do with them. Like sometimes they'll have a characteristic that's really complementary towards the coconut, like if we get kind of like a rum flavor or some of those more sweet notes, we'll tend to use like a coconut. If it's strong whiskey and vanilla, we'll leave it how it is or complement it with some more vanilla. So it's a lot of stout in barrels, and then we'll kind of see what they do. And then, the porter, which is our Who Hit John base, and a few other cool concoctions, but no like secret batches that we're hiding from you. And if we were, they're secret for a reason,
No, that's really cool though, you guys. I mean, like, it sounds like you're saying that like barrel aging obviously imparts a certain character, and it sounds as if you're letting the beers speak to you rather than saying, I have a set of agendas of I got to use this Kope Luwak coffee or I got to use this Madagascar vanilla. It sounds like you're saying, what does this beer need and what can we do in a certain amount of time? Do you feel like still being a relatively small brewery, those luxuries are afforded to you in some degree?
Oh,
I mean, we've been doing barrel beers for years now, and I think we've just come to a natural spot where we just, I don't know, we don't even think about it. Like, we just know what to look for. We know what we're tasting, and the ideas just flow pretty effortlessly these days when it comes to those barrel beers. But yeah, we definitely don't like go into anything and force anything into certain parameters. We like to let things flow pretty naturally.
And that's just because we failed countless times doing it the other way. So we just learned to kind of let the beer do its thing. And we've had some success with that. So we'll continue that way.
So you guys have Frank and Wally coming out. When does that happen?
Third
Tomorrow.
Friday. Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
Give us a little preview, because I think I was supposed to come grab some to preview with you guys, and it didn't happen. None of us made it. I'm sorry. It's mostly my fault. Look at the disappointment on not that Adam, but if you frog leap that Adam and go to the other Adam.
We could both be disappointed.
It's true. But tell us.
Luke, why don't you give him a rundown?
Frank and Wally, yeah, it's pretty similar to most other Wallies. So most of our triples we don't necessarily rely on any oat additions. Frank and Wally is using all Sinagua malt, and then we use a bit of Bluebeard Durham wheat from Grain R&D. Also, shout out to those guys because they have been supplying raw Sonoran wheat, which has been a crucial part of Spellbinder's recipe. So we use quite a bit of their wheat, Sinagua-based malt, pretty typical Wally base. And then for this one, we bought a couple hops that we've never used before or have like had beers with them. We haven't actually worked with them. Which one was HB 472 and HBC 492? Sorry, 692. And both of these hops are kind of in the cashmere family of flavor-wise. A lot of coconut, some woody tones, some like molasses rum vibes. So we just dry hopped it at the heavy rate that we typically do with Wally's. Same brewing process. It's tried and true at this point, so we kind of know what we're doing when we go into these Wally beers. The results were pretty crazy. These two hops came together, and I know we always like say tropical, blah blah blah, but it's like legit the most like rum forward, like pina colada aroma you could imagine. It's really crazy. So once we tried it a few days after dry hopping, I think we were all pretty stoked at the brewery about what this beer was. Very smooth, moderate to dry sweetness, but it's still present and just big pina colada vibes.
That's really cool though, because it sounds like you guys have an idea of what it might become, but not knowing for sure what you're going to get out of this. And it seems like, obviously, Preston mentioned sometimes the beers don't come out the way you guys want, and you learn from there. But how has that experimentation led to some successes? Like, which beers stand out where they were created and you're like, whoa, that was way better than we were anticipating?
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, that either happens or the opposite happens. So
That's
in either case, it's a learning experience. So
And
We have hopes, and like with this one, we've had beers with those hops, and we had a thought of what they would taste like. There's a lot of experimental hops, and those two we thought would pair well together. We'd never had them together though, and from there it's a crapshoot. But we were able to you can kind of guide it along with your knowledge set and with your experience, so you're not too surprised. But
sure, yeah. On paper, it was going to be a good triple IPA, and then once it came out, it was fantastic.
But are there some that you went into it having an idea that, okay, this will probably be pretty good, this will work, and then it came out, you're like, holy crap, that was just unbelievable. Like maybe it surpassed your expectations even for what you thought it could be. Were any stand out in that regard?
It's been a while, but one that comes to mind is the first time we canned Bolo Thai Rye. It was one of our first forays into canning West Coast IPA, or at least one of our first few. And I was super excited with that beer, and I think that led us to enjoy and want to make those kind of like really dank, deep flavored but clear, crisp West Coast IPAs.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, it happens very frequently.
So, Adam Green, you can't use the privilege. I'm going to privilege check you on the banners.
That banner? Yeah, I don't know how that got there. But I mean, if there's more White Mountain Road out there, I wouldn't mind. But don't worry about that.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I don't have any. And it's
someone on Wren House Brewing Company is saying Phoenix down.
It's okay.
I think Preston could attest to that beer.
I'm gonna look at Adam for a second. Give me a second. Adam, look at me. You looking at me, Adam? I can't tell if you're looking at me. You're looking at me. All right, great. Stop asking for free beer. All right.
I didn't ask for free. I want to buy more of it.
Oh, then yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I'm not looking for free beer. No.
They're $200 a bottle, but
okay, I'm looking for free beer.
I mean, Preston, you don't want to know what we would spend on more bottles.
We got another similar beer coming out December, January, so it'll be good.
We got to stop doing this, guys. Eventually, we're gonna have to change the whole show's name to Wren House Brewing Company Fan Club, and that's a whole different concept. I'd have to have a whole different conversation with a bunch of people.
Looking like a guy who's never had White Mountain Road.
The guy loves coconut. It's not a crime.
Is this rumor mill? I hear there's a lager coming, 24th and Oak.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I will do this until you tell me more.
We did another oak fermented lager. We did it a little bit more experimental than some of our other ones, and so that's just finishing up now. So hopefully we'll be seeing that in the next week or so.
Yep, just an American hop forward lager. We don't dry hop it or anything, but it gets hopped pretty accessibly with American hops in the boil. And then we just ferment in oak.
That was my next question: is did you guys put any twists on it? A little bit of a personal touch in terms of, because lagers tend to be complicated, and people don't realize how complicated they are. More, well, I guess, time consuming in terms of like fermentation and such, right? And B, they just have a recipe. That's what you do. You make a lager. So wasn't sure if you guys did a little twist on it.
Yeah, I forgot. Let me just pull it up.
You'll taste it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't find the brew. I think we had a wheat or something. It's just a pale American Pilsner. We bittered it up a bit more than usual with like Cascade American hops. And then just did our normal procedure to leave it to rest in oak for about a month and a half.
It has to become somewhat overwhelming to continuously show up to work is brewing beer, but knowing what days you're brewing what beers and where they go. And eventually, like in my head, that just seems like just enough work. There's nothing else I could do beyond that. I'd be mentally exhausted.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I do now.
Yeah, we have a good relationship where Preston is able to see that level of foresight in production, and then kind of leaves it to me to translate that into the physical product. And I'm very confused half the time as well with what's happening. So we're in a much more organized place these days, and I think we have a good grasp on what we're doing.
Yeah, the problem is we've been at capacity for about 2 years. And so if a beer doesn't finish in time, that could be 6 days before we can it, which means that we've bumped an entire brew, and then that can push back another beer. And so next thing you know, you're caught up to 2 beers down the road and there's one in between. And then it's a scramble. You're going to have to cut one or get one out faster and maybe keg it instead of can it. And sometimes that means we don't have a fermenter available. So you put the lager in a barrel and you just oak ferment it. So it's kind of, it can be crazy when you're at capacity because of that. So we're hoping to get a couple more tanks or something in the near future so that we're not up against the wall all the time. But no complaints. We're very fortunate that we're in that position. But yeah, it does get a little hectic for sure.
With all those different beers and everything, like one thing that we've talked about, all the different styles that you guys are brewing, you know, with the IPAs, the lagers, the stouts and everything. And a lot of breweries aren't known for being able to hit every single style. So like you guys continually, if it's a style of beer, you make it and you make it well. Is that common, or how do you get to a level where you can feel confident in brewing pretty much any style that the market asks for that you guys want to brew?
Well, I think part of that is when Luke joined up, he had a set of beers that he was really fond of, and I had a set that I was really fond of, and they really didn't overlap much other than our appreciation for them. I never really thought about this before, but I think this is right. And then, so we had our strengths, and then we learned from each other, and then we grew ourselves independently as we learned. And, you know, I think brewing IPAs is one of the most fun beers to brew because it's one of the few beers where a lot of the magic is on the hot side. Whereas a lager, it's all about a boring grain bill and then babying it for 6 weeks. And so it's a completely different process. That's actually quite fun and challenging. But I don't drink a lot of them. So, you know, on the flavor side, you know, it was definitely a deficit of mine that Luke was able to fill in. And I was more interested in just brewing, you know, lagers and barrel-aged porters and eventually stouts, which are kind of boring beers. And then, yeah, I think we kind of grew together, and we kind of speak the same language because most of his brewing career has been working with me, and I was only brewing a couple years before him. So the majority of our successes have come together. And so we have a good dynamic in that sense, and we've elevated each other. So if there's a gap in that knowledge, the other one tends to be able to fill it in pretty well. And so it's given us kind of a breadth of success in the area, I guess.
I want to let anyone watching know that you're welcome to throw your comments and questions in there, and we will put them on the screen. We're happy to put them up there, and you can ask them questions live right now. In the meantime, I've got another question for you guys, and this one I think has been asked more than once to many a brewer. But is there an obligation to follow trends versus brewing what you love? Obviously, styles change, tastes change among the population depending on what city you're in or whatever. How does that?
And remember, Drew Poole was watching.
Yeah, but I hope he's not watching because he isn't watching. He's watching.
Yeah, I mean, I think that right now in the brewing industry, there's a lot of brewers who are feeling pressure and feeling a lot of need to express themselves in any way possible to get attention. And I don't think that's necessarily the right way to go. I don't think you should be craving attention, but at the same time, I don't think you should be giving up on something that hasn't been tried yet. Innovation comes pretty easily for us. We really enjoy seeing the processes that we almost invent and then tweak them down the road. I don't think we've ever really been the type to jump at something just for attention's sake. And I think us just finding that middle ground of still innovating, not getting stuck in our ways, but also not going too far, jumping the shark, I guess is what you could say. We haven't really gone in that direction. And I think we've just found a really good middle ground. But whatever works I always just tell brewers, brew in whatever way you want and reap the benefits from what that is.
I dig it. Preston, you got some more to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that's right. I also think it's in the eye of the beholder because what Luke, Drew, or I view as obscure or creative are very different to one another. So we all kind of push the envelope in our own ways, and sometimes it's bizarre and sometimes it's really mild. And if it works, it works. But our goal has always been to do it as an act of experimentation, like Luke said. And it's a double-edged sword. I mean, if it's super kooky and it blows up, well, then that's what you do. And do you want to be the brewery that's stuck doing some kooky shit for 20 years? I think we're fortunate where, I think the ethos behind Wren House is constant experimentation. It may not be as big leaps as some breweries, and it's quite a bit bigger leap than other breweries, and we're maybe somewhere in the middle, but we definitely don't have the ethos of sitting back on our laurels. We want to keep exploring. And 5 years ago, I thought hazy IPAs were going to be a trend that blew over in 6 months, and now it's what we're known for. So, it's not my job to judge it. It's to learn from these because
if this is the definition of Wren House experimenting, I'm just going to be the first one to say it on the internet if they haven't already. Please continue experimenting. We'll drink it.
Yeah, we will.
I thought I saw a question here from Andrew Hirsch. He asked, when can we expect the first ever pastry lager?
I don't know, but when you drink it, let us know.
Because it'll be an experiment. That's what it's going to be. Oh, man. We listen to another one here. PJ. Thanks for watching, PJ. As far as the industry as a whole, what do you think is the most important thing to change or improve and why? It's a nice little fun up here.
I'm 100% quality. If you want to do like crazy stuff, just make sure it's quality. Don't put out on just make sure it's quality. That's all I'm going to say. Keep your quality control high and as your most important factor, no matter what you make.
I think that's a diplomatic way to address the issue. I mean, there are breweries who have been like cutting edge. They've done some like subscription programs, or maybe like you buy a barrel and you fill it with whatever adjuncts you want to have in it. And year one, it's a tremendous success. Like you captivated the audience. You've created a market share that no one else could touch. And then year two, there's this idea like snowboarding in the X Games that you have to progress, and that a 1080 doesn't mean a 1080 anymore. And you got to do something new and different and better. And then you open the door and you add adjuncts that are questionable for barrel aging, or you do all these different things. And that's not necessarily what's best for beer. Like, I love that you guys have that commitment to staying the course on quality, even if it means that no one goes, oh, Wren House is the most innovative. They did dry ice and cucumber melon at the same time, and that's why these glass bottles are the best. Like, we don't need that. Nobody needs that, but people want to believe that we need that. Does that make sense?
Stop subtweeting and just start naming breweries, man.
No, please don't. But yeah,
no,
yeah, I think, I mean, like we were saying earlier, our entire kind of scene at Wren House is to experiment and to push boundaries and test them and stuff, but always with the goal of making a good drinkable beer. So we'll add coconut to stouts and stuff like that. And sometimes we do get a little, we go a little too far or something like that. And so we use it as a learning experience. But I think as long as the beer is good and well made, people will appreciate that. And there'll be an integrity and honesty behind your beer that people will recognize. And so as long as other brewers do the same thing, and if they want to put some wacky stuff in their beer, totally do it. Some of my favorite beers are made that way, but be doing it for the right reasons, and you can taste the difference, I think. And I think there's a lot of success to be had in that. It doesn't have to be boring, is what I'm saying. That we need to keep pushing the envelope. That's what made craft beer popular. It's definitely a hard line to find on what's too far.
Speaking of wacky stuff, hold on, Adam. We've gone 50 minutes into this show, and nobody, not a single soul, has mentioned that it is 8:30 in the evening, and he has sunshades on the fucking bill of his hat. Like, he's 51 minutes into this thing, and he's been holding on to like Weekend at Bernie's clip-ons.
I mean, to be fair, it takes like 50 minutes to process all of his various attire and accessories, starting with the Tasmanian Devil shirt.
I mean,
we've only just now gotten past mustache into Dwayne Wade sunglass flip.
Get out of here.
Luke's just got the Mickey ears behind him that are really just a plant. So you've got that. Go back to where you were sitting, Luke. Go get comfy. I want to show everybody. Go get back to where you were. No, you're going to dodge it. I see it. There it is. Awkward dog.
Yeah, I noticed. Okay.
Gentlemen, do you have anything else? I want to throw in one more question as we wrap up the show. What are your goals for 2021?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, so
from us or you guys?
Yeah.
What are our goals for Wren House in 2021?
Yeah.
More Mountain King Snake variants, please.
Yeah, we can do that for sure. Our goal, I don't know. I don't want to be dodgy, but I'll let Drew chime in with anything if he's still watching. But we definitely want to continue to grow and expand our reach in Arizona. And be able to brew more of the beer we love. We bought a bunch of tanks in a bigger brew house last year, and we've been trying to find the right building to put those in. And so hopefully in the next year, we'll have some good news. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's all I can say for now until we have more news. We're looking for a building, and I'm looking for some more accoutrements for my scene here.
I don't know what kind of accessories, but we will all take a pink Las Frescas shirt if they're still available. So.
Yeah, got it.
I do think you're missing, to like really finish off your look, you should really put an ascot on. It'll really highlight the Tasmanian Devil.
I had one on, but they asked me to take it off earlier. So
Usually rocks like 3 gold chains. But
as we wrap up, Tim Martinez says, "Keep killing it, Wren House. Great segment, SDDC. Thank you very much. It by far my favorite AZ brewery. It might be one of ours too. I want to be unbiased and objective."
You can be unbiased and objective. I love Wren House. Like, I don't have to.
Fair. It is our show, so I think we do what we want.
I objectively love Wren House.
We're like the Fox News of beer.
Yeah, by the way, everybody in the Arizona beer enthusiasts, please, every 3 days, please keep saying what's your favorite brewery in the greater Phoenix area, because Wren House can get a lot of press off of that. It's amazing.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hang tight for the post show, which is private and offline. We'll just have a quick sip and a chat. And thank all of you for watching. I appreciate it. Preston, Luke, Drew, everybody out at Wren House, congratulations. Sorry, I clearly had more than one beer.
Congratulations. Yes.
Congratulations, and thank you for joining us. we will see you guys again. We'll be here on Sunday at 4:45 for another episode of the Social Distance Drinking Club. Stay tuned. We will announce our guests for Sunday soon. Cheers.
Yusuf got drunk on Pilsner.
Do you live in Wren House?
Nobody knows what Pilsner drunk is.